everyone, my name is Eric Hopkins, aka JEL. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I got a chance to go out and watch Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. So I'm going to do a little non-spoiler review for you here on the channel. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good film. If I had to rank the Ghostbusters movies from the original all the way till now, first of all, we're not going to count the 2016 Abomination that was that movie. I don't count that as part of the Ghostbusters series anymore. Before I would count that movie, I would count the 2009 Ghostbusters video game where all the cast came back and voiced their characters. To me, that for a long time was the third movie in the series. So we could add that. I mean, it'd probably be at the bottom of the list because it's a video game, but I would probably rank it. The original is number one. It's going to, I mean, like a lot of originals, it's hard to beat the original. That would be number one. Then I would put Ghostbusters Afterlife a couple years ago, 2022, which I thought was the best movie that year for the most part. Then I would put Frozen Empire. Then I'd put Ghostbusters 2. And again, like I said, we don't even mention 2016 anymore, even though I just mentioned it. Yeah, so it's not as good as Afterlife. But I think if you watch Ghostbusters Afterlife, you'll enjoy this movie. It's definitely a lot of the same characters. Actually, all the characters pretty much return as well. Yeah, I just think that they really did a good job of building upon those new characters as well. The one downside to it is it kind of like Afterlife. It felt like the OG Ghostbusters are a little bit relegated to cameo roles to a degree. They're in it about as much as Afterlife. Now, I do believe though Dan Aykroyd has a much bigger role in Frozen Empire than he did in Afterlife for sure. But especially Bill Murray though, he's not in it much at all. He's in it for basically a total of like two whole scenes. The finale and like a scene early on in the movie that kind of pays homage to the original film a bit. So in that regard, I mean, I'm glad he showed up, and I'm glad that they're all in there because to me, those are the original Ghostbusters. Those are the Ghostbusters I would love to see more of. Unfortunately, they're a little older now, and they're golden years, as it were, as the movie mentions. So yeah, I mean, overall though, I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, it's not the best movie you'll ever see, obviously, and I mean it's a March movie, but when it comes to the Ghostbusters mythology and the Ghostbusters universe, so to speak, I think it's a worthy installment. I definitely like what they did with the new Ghost. I think it was Garaka. I think that's how you pronounce the name. It was definitely scarier than I thought the Ghost in Ghostbusters 2 was. So I thought they did a much better job, kind of creating a new ghost to be the main bad guy in the film. Because obviously Afterlife kind of went back to the ghost from the first original film. It kind of played on a lot of that nostalgia, and of course you can't continue to do that with every single movie, just going back to the same ghost from the first movie. So I thought they did a good job of creating something there. Now, when it comes to nostalgia, this movie definitely does have that. It's not nearly as I mean, there's a lot of nostalgia in it, a lot of callbacks to the original movie, especially, and maybe not as much as Afterlife had, but it definitely had its fair share of it. So, I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, you're going to love this too. Especially as you can tell in the poster here, Slimer's in this movie, so it's not really a spoiler; it's in the trailers and things like that. So, there were a few scenes in it I thought kind of felt like maybe could have been cut from the trailer because obviously, like you see in these posters here, they're wearing these like nice red jackets because it got cold in New York and it's all about the death chill. Which I won't go into much more spoilers other than that's what it was called. But there's a lot of stuff in the trailer where they're wearing these red jackets, and there's not a whole lot of footage in the movie of them wearing those cool jackets. There's a few spots in there, but it's not as prominent as it was in the trailer, so that may disappoint some people. And I don't know exactly if we're going to be getting a third film in this new trilogy or not. If they're ever going to make it a trilogy in this new series, I should say, the remake as it is or continuation. But I feel like you could do a third film if they, and I believe it's made, according to this tweet here, it has made $45.2 million domestically, the second highest opening weekend of the franchise. So, from a financial standpoint, I believe they only made this movie for $100 million. So you could actually, probably see this movie making some money at some point. It's probably going to take a few weeks, but it could definitely make a profit because they made it for so cheap. And I think that's what movies should start doing more of is making movies for cheaper and kind of pushing the envelope a bit, kind of like they did back in the day. You don't have to spend 200, 300, $400 million on a movie, and then when you don't make that money back, plus the amount of money it costs to market the film, which is usually a couple 100 million more or whatever, you got to add that onto it. If you can't make your money back or create a profit, then movie studios don't want to make more because they're considered failures. When really the failure started right up front with the financing. I think in this case, it's probably going to make money at some point. And if it's the second highest opening weekend of the Ghostbusters franchise in general, I can clearly see them making a third one. However, without ruining anything, I do feel like if they don't make any more, this is a nice ending off point because I think Dan Aykroyd in particular has talked many times about how they always wanted to push the new generation of Ghostbusters forward. And I think this movie does a great job of doing that. And of course, the last one started that journey. And by the end of this film, I think they did a really good job with these new characters. And they've done a great job of kind of pushing the envelope to kind of, get the next generation of Ghostbusters to continue on into the future if they decided to make a third film. But if they don't, it definitely leaves you going, all right, the Ghostbusters are still around doing their thing. And I definitely enjoyed that aspect of it. A lot of family elements in here, what it means to be a family, what it, just means to stick together through the good times and the bad. And that's always a good thing to see in movies as well. There was at least I know one character in particular in the movie was not shown in the trailer at all, so it's a little bit new for audiences who've just watched the trailer and didn't know anything about it going in. So that kind of threw me off a little bit, but I think the storyline that they did with the character was pretty good. The one character I didn't really care for, and to be fair, the actor for me is just kind of it's a it, I like him in certain things and I don't like him in others. And that's Kumail Nanjiani. Nothing against him as a person or an actor or anything like that. Just for me, it's not my taste sometimes with some of his comedy. But I mean, I like the without ruining anything, I like the backstory they told with his family descendants from this movie, and it plays into his character as well. I like that aspect of it. It just felt a little out of place what they end up doing with Kumail Nanjiani's character for a Ghostbusters movie, if that makes any sense. Once you see it, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. They did something with the character that if they do it with all the other Ghostbusters characters, it's going to change the dynamic of what a Ghostbusters movie is. And while I'm all for new ideas and stuff when it comes to franchises of old, not just repeating the same steps over and over and over again because that could get tedious and boring and like we've seen it already. I do like new ideas. I just don't know if that's the way I would want the Ghostbusters franchise to go. But it sounds like it'll probably just be this particular character, and he may not even return for another movie if they do it. So I don't know, and I wasn't a big fan of Kumail Nanjiani's character in Obi-Wan Kenobi as well. But all in all, I thought it was a pretty good film. I think it's worth your time. If you want to go see it, I recommend a matinee or even waiting for streaming if you want to do that. I don't know if it's something you have to spend your hard-earned money on to go see at the theater. Although I ain't gonna lie, I had a really good time watching it. I left with a smile on my face. There is a post-credit scene. It's a mid-credit scene. There is nothing at the very end of the credits. But to be honest, if you want to skip the mid-credit scene, there's really nothing that sets up anything in the future, in my opinion. I mean, you could set something up with it, but most probably what's going to happen is it's not even mentioned ever again. It's just for fun. So if you want to stick around and see that, by all means, I recommend it too. It's a nice little laugh out loud moment. But other than that, I mean, it's just it's a fun time. It's not reinventing the wheel, so to speak, at this point, but it's more of the same of what we got from Afterlife. And in that regard, I'm happy with it because I loved Afterlife. It's a little bit of a step down from that movie, but all things considered, a fun time at the cinema. So, but what do you guys think? Did you guys go out and see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire this weekend like I did? If you did, comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of the film. Try not to ruin it for everybody, but if you want to talk spoilers in the comments, I'm perfectly okay with that too. But if you like the movie, let me know. If you didn't like the movie, let me know why. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And hope you guys will continue to stick around here on the channel. I'll have more movie reviews coming out, especially with the summer movie blockbuster season coming around the corner. We'll be having a lot more of these coming out here moving forward. And until my next video, guys, take care and God bless.